This is according to Alvin. I'm Alvin. I had a conversation with one of my sons, and we talked a little bit about a term that President Trump used, extreme vetting. I had to concede to him that I think extreme vetting is political code for something else. He pointed out to me that a lot of extreme vetting has already been done regarding Muslim people coming to the United States. I pointed out to him that the success of that vetting is lacking. But I believe that what President Trump was saying without saying is he intends to pick up the methodology that's used by the only people on earth who are succeeding against radicalized Muslims, jihad. And that is Israel. You can like Israel, you can hate Israel, but the facts are nobody has flown any of their airplanes into any of their buildings. In fact, Israel hasn't had a criminal offense, a criminal incident on any of their airlines in decades, maybe since the 70s. The reason for that is because El Al's security people and Jerusalem's security people and Israel's security people use a methodology unapologetically. They profile. They profile by race. They profile by gender. They profile by sexual orientation. They profile by religion. And they profile by political persuasion. And they profile by anything that can be seen or extracted with a brief interview. And what they do with that is when they get a certain combination of answers, they simply refuse the person boarding. They just tell them, you don't get to fly on El Al. And they're not particularly interested in, you can't strand me in Munich, I live in San Francisco. They don't care. Because they are literally surrounded by their enemies and under attack daily, worldwide. And they have figured out a way to succeed against radicalized Islam, at least in a limited capacity. They don't have anybody doing anything on their airplanes. They also don't have too much trouble with people immigrating because they use that extreme vetting, profiling. And they don't have a problem with, we're not going to let you in our country because something your grandfather said back in 1951. They have no problem with saying that. All they do is they point to their database and they say, this is the experience we've had with people like you. And we're not going to let you in our country. That's exactly what President Trump needs to do. He needs to drop this useless political correctness, which I don't know if it's a religion or what, but it's so counterproductive to the success of security people. Political correctness, I think it should be politically correct to outlaw political correctness. Okay, that's a little funny sounding, but I feel that way. I have no concept of somebody saying to me, our experience with old white people from the middle of America has been bad, and so we're not going to include you. Provided I believe them that their experience with old white men from middle of America had been bad, I would say, that sounds like good rational logic to me. By the way, the credit industry makes no apology for turning us down on a new truck, do they? You go into the credit industry and say to them, I'm interested in a $68,000 Ford truck. They look at your credit history, and they come back and they'll say one of two things. They'll say, you've been approved at this rate or whatever, give you a credit rating. Or they'll say to you, we're not going to finance that truck for you. Based on experience we've had with people like you. That's exactly what we need to be saying to immigrants. And I don't care if they're Muslim or Mexican or Canadian. I don't care if they're from Mars. If we have data that we can computerize and you know, with the algorithms and such, create decision making based on the numbers, based on the people we have seen like you before, that's exactly the way to do it. And so I'm perfectly willing to forgive the president for using a cloaked term, extreme vetting, when in fact I really do believe that what he really meant, what he was really had in mind was profiling. And I'm saying, let's profile me. Profile my religion and my skin color and my background and the fact that half of my family came from Ireland and most of the other half from England. And my great-great-grandmother was a full-blooded Native American. I don't have a problem with that. I don't consider that bigoted. Whatever your experiences has been with that particular mixture of people, make real decisions about it. And that's what I want my government doing regarding immigration, regarding people getting on airplanes, for that matter, regarding people getting into a place where there's a large number of people. I don't have a problem with profiling for the Super Bowl, state fair, large political events. It's called practical policing against the malicious, whatever their persuasions happen to be. And if the president wants to, we can call it extreme vetting. I'm Alvin. Thank you.